red one's right behind you.
Okay.
So that's, this is Greg Hill's bike when he left Schwinn. This is the 78 Microline that Greg raced. And I've actually been working on this for about 2 years. Just
Wow.
finding parts and this and that and the other. And
Okay.
yeah, Greg saw it today. He was completely stoked. And, you know, once again, there's history with that I didn't really know about. Dennis, that pad behind you.
Yeah.
So that pad, that 8X is in Cook's colors.
Okay.
So Dennis gave Greg that pad when he became number 8X. And so that's why it's got a Cook's Brothers pad on the Redline. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that I learned today, and but Ian made the pad and the plate for that too. And yeah, Greg's awesome.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool bike.
And is that a plastic chainring on it?
Yeah, so he had the Attic sprocket. The cranks that are on that, those are first gen 401 no pinch. But the actual cranks that Greg ran were prototype cranks that Redline made, and in the process of the heat treating, the tubing would pop open. So there's only a couple sets of those made.
Whoa.
Greg ran those, and actually Kurt Kasten ran them. And me and Kevin went to Kurt's place. Kurt's in Texas. So we went to Kurt's a couple weeks ago, hung out on a Saturday, and he showed us that prototype crank. So I'm trying to talk him into making that crank for Greg's bike so we can make it just how it was then. But yeah, that's the bike you've been seeing.
BMX Breakthrough is bridging the gap from old school to new school, from tracks to manufacturers, from new riders to their local tracks, and it doesn't stop at racing, but the mission is to connect people with bikes. Join me, Jay Oaks, as I interview key people in the sport and in the industry that are involved in their local circles, in their communities, at their local tracks, and aiming to make a difference on a local level. You'll hear stories, marketing tips, failures, successes, and a way to make a difference in your local BMX community. Let's dive in as we kick off this next episode.
Okay. Just be careful with the pink one. You'll sit there.
Hey Jay, how you doing?
Doing good?
Yeah.
Here, we'll move that.
Is that better?
Yeah.
There we go. Dirty Fest 2025, rocking it. Now you can edit all this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I say something stupid or stutter or whatever.
Check, check. There we go.
All right.
Yeah. The only thing I try to avoid is swearing on the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I figured that would be the case. I told somebody, I did an interview with Scott Town the other day, and he goes, I'll try not to swear. And then we got done, and he's like, dude, I didn't swear at all. And he listened to the podcast, and he's like, I'm so amazed I didn't swear.
I'm going to try not to.
And,
we'll see what happens.
It's okay. I can edit it too, but like, just because I've got like 13 and 14-year-olds that like listen, and they're like, hey, that was an awesome podcast. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, so anyway, just try to make it a little bit more family friendly. And
absolutely.
So, all right. Well, do you have, before I ask on the interview, do you have John Cruz's bike?
I actually have two of John Cruz's.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's not his bike, but two replicas.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'm usually pretty good at this stuff. I used to be on the radio.
Okay.
I was in a band. I'm not afraid of being in front of people. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, Rob Lane, I am so excited This has been fun.
I'm excited, Jay.
We've had some conversations over the last couple of years.
We've been to a lot of places together too.
We have,
Yeah.
all over the country. To some
Absolutely.
extent.
Yeah.
I didn't get to the Northeast.
That was really cool.
That was you were just up in New Jersey?
Yeah, Scotty
Okay.
was his show up there. It was absolutely amazing. All the boys up there are rock solid, hard hitting bikes. The judging was absolutely on point, and we had a great time. Great drive there, great drive home. Kevin did good. I did good. Everybody up there just had a great time. It was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like every other day you and Kevin Cleveland are on the road.
Recently,
some new adventure.
Well, Kevin's kind of newbie. He's like a year in,
Yeah.
and he lives close to me, and we've developed a pretty good friendship, and we both have that love for Redline and BMX. So, yeah, the Jersey show. Well, we did Texas,
Okay.
then Jersey. We did Cooper's, which you were there.
Yeah.
Watching your kids race. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. And you. And Cooper's was awesome. And now Dirty Fest. So this was like his first big show.
Oh,
So
okay.
this has been a real treat for him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun seeing your. I didn't realize the extent. Last year I got one of your tour shirts,
Mhm.
and then this year you gave me a tour or one of your shirts. But like last year, seeing all the dates and all the places that you were, and you've been traveling all over for the last few years, which is really cool.
Especially last year. And I kind of did that mostly because it was Redline's 50th anniversary.
Okay.
That was the main reason why I hit as many shows as I did last year.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll ever do that many again. I think it was 12 shows, and that was pretty intense, you know. But
I mean, because you were in Seattle.
yeah,
and
Seattle show was awesome.
You were here.
Dirty
You were
Fest,
at Guy Cooper's.
Cooper's, Frogtown,
Yeah.
New Jersey Hall of Fame,
So
Texas.
literally all over the place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, all those individually are long drives. So.
Yeah. Well, Washington was the longest. Jersey, Frogtown's long too. So Jersey and Frogtown are the longest. Dirty Fest is the next long one, but you know we can bust them out in a day and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. You know, if you
Yeah.
do the 5 hours of sleep at night and just keep rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta get your rest beforehand.
I love
You
it.
know that.
Oh, yeah.
You do the same thing.
Every once in a while,
But
you just got to make
you
it
actually make it because you got the family with you. We were watching it. You're just stopping and doing the swimming and hitting the sights, and I wish we could do that.
So I've always done the like get to the destination and like
Mhm.
try to make great time. And in the last few years, I'm like, you know what? Let's make this more fun. Let's sporadically stop at some place that we've never been to, and we don't know until we see a sign on the exit,
Yeah.
or coming up to the exit. And so we absolutely love trying to make. I'm a big fan of making moments and memories.
Yeah.
And road trips are cool. The kids, we did a pretty deadhead-ish run
hmm
out here to Dirty Fest, and it was a good time. The kids actually did great, and they really loved it. They spoke highly of it, but having a couple of stops changes the game.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, it slows it down a little bit. And I've been talking about that too because, like, going to New Jersey, I kind of really enjoy that drive, going through Tennessee and all that. And there's a lot of places I like to just stop and maybe chill for 6 hours or whatever, or hang out for the day. And so maybe that'll be on the horizon. There's going to be some things that are going to be changing. There's going to be a little bit of a pause in some of the shows. I've got some surprises coming up and going to make the rig a little bit bigger and a little bit more easier to set up. Setting up all this stuff is, it's difficult to set it up and tear it down. It takes a long time to do that. So I want to try to hit more shows with an easier setup, but make it better.
Yeah,
Which is going to be a little tricky, but I think I got a plan, so we'll see what happens.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for somebody that's listening that doesn't know, will you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Redline Rob.
Redline Rob.
Redline Rob. I started racing first race was in '74 at Chandler.
Okay.
Did just one, raced with my brother. My dad took us there. And we lived real close to there, near the Chandler track. Gene Roden actually only lived a couple blocks away, and I didn't know that till recently.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, then I raced Lakeside when I came to San Diego for a vacation, and also raced, and that was in '75. '76, I raced in Denver
Okay.
in a rodeo indoor, like a little arena thing. You know, flat gate start, rubber band, the whole thing. It was pretty cool. But my hardcore racing was 79, 80, and a little bit into 81,
Okay.
NPSA in South Florida.
Okay.
And that's where I became introduced to Redline and my passion started.
Wow. Okay. So did you have a Redline then, or were you dreaming
No.
of a Redline?
I wasn't even dreaming of Redline.
Okay.
But I had this early 74 yellow Webco, believe it or not, that we
Okay.
got from Pat Schwinn Cyclery in Mesa, Arizona. My dad got it. And I raced that, in 74, 75, 76, and a little bit in 79. I get my butt kicked by this guy in his PK Ripper. And the whole Redline thing started. I was at a national in Florida, and the first time I'd ever seen pros, I'm like, what's going on here? And everybody's making all this noise. Everybody's going to the gate. And I'd gone up there, and when that gate dropped, it was like thunder. And watching these pros race was just unbelievable. And who won was Stu. And I saw what Stu was riding. And that Monday, I was at Boca Raton Bicycles, and I had ordered a new Pro line with bullseye hubs, all the stuff. And I remember my mom was really mad because my brother just bought a new Camaro for $3,800. And I was washing dishes and bussing tables and stuff, and I paid $1,200 for this Redline. So she was a little, but first time out on that Redline, I beat that guy in that PK.
Really?
Yeah, and I was getting my butt kicked by him regularly. So it was.
And what year did you say that was?
That was like I would say late '79. Yeah.
Wow. $1,200.
$1,200. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. The replica of it's actually right over there. But that was what a difference though, going from that Webco to a Pro line, and the weight difference, and I think a lot of it was psychological too, but it was amazing.
Placebo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So were your parents supportive? I mean, I would assume they were pretty supportive of your
My
racing.
mom and dad were divorced, so I kind of would go back and forth. My mom helped me as best she could, but she was struggling, and she'd take me to the races when she could. I was lucky enough to be able to ride my bike from home to the Pompano track and race. I think we raced there Wednesdays and Sundays, and I would catch rides with other friends, to go to the faraway ones. But yeah, she supported me.
Okay.
She was actually out here today. Yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so I would assume your fascination with Redline started at that point. You bought the Pro line.
Correct.
But all of this, and we're only seeing a glimpse of it behind us.
Well,
but where's this stemmed from?
Well, I'm real loyal. I'm a very loyal person. And when my son started racing, 96, Orange Y, and oh God, what was that downhill track? It was between Orange Y and Corona. It was I can't remember the name of it, but we basically were racing SoCal, and his first bike was a Redline, and then he went to some power lights and whatnot. But when my grandson started racing, that's when this started. Because I started thinking, hey, I might want to build that old Pro line. So I built that old Pro line, and then I was completely addicted.
Okay.
That's how this whole thing started. And I lived near Stu. Cool. There was just a lot of things that happened, like the stars aligned. I don't know how to explain that to you, but that's pretty much a lot of things happened that made this happen for me and for everybody else. So it was all of it with Dennis, Greg, Stu, John Cruz, Cosmala. It was just perfect timing and stars aligning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, have you always been a collector of things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was in a band when I was younger, and I started collecting guitars. I was a really big Jackson Charvel guitar collector at one point in time, and I did that for a long time and got out of it, and doing the guitar thing and knowing how to do the collection thing and how to present at shows and things a little bit helped out a little bit. So
at this time, I want to give a special shout out and thank you to our 2025 sponsors who are helping us make the mission of BMX Breakthrough happen, which is to grow the sport at a local level. These sponsors, you can find more about them in the description, and then you can use their coupon codes. And you may be saying, I don't need a coupon code. but I would ask you, please use that coupon code as a way to help us all track what we're doing together. It helps them, it helps us, it helps everyone. So at our gold level, we have Box, Mongoose, and Pro Lids. At the silver level, we have Dan's Comp, LRC, and Pro Start. And at the bronze level, we have Command Aviation, Danger Snacks, Fly Racing, Gear Blocks, Justin Shepard Title Examiner, Lincoln Park BMX, Sign Dog Northwest, Sound Cedar Lumber, and Tasco. Once again, you can follow the links in our description to find out more about these phenomenal brands. You can find the coupon codes for some of them available there. And thank you so much to our 2025 sponsors. Now back to our episode.
Okay, so the reason that I wanted to have a conversation with you was because what you've done is you're traveling around and you're bringing history of BMX to these different places.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of it is preservation of the sport and of some of these iconic bikes and these iconic figures in the sport, which is one of the reasons that I love the Dirty Fest and Frogtown events. And so those have been really fun. But I wanted to talk to you about it because obviously you have a love for the sport that's far deeper than just cool bikes.
Yeah,
And
it's with the Redlines. I have a love. I call them, with my close friends, I call them the boys. And I have a pretty good relationship with the boys. And there's passion there with the bikes and with the boys and with the people that get to see them and enjoy them and tell the stories and stuff. And I know some little tidbits and things because of the boys. So it's fun, and it's I really enjoy it, and I love them all. They're all really great guys, and they deserve everything I can do for them. I don't know how to say that other than just saying it like that.
Yeah,
I do. You know,
no, that makes sense.
They're great. They're great guys, and I love them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, and I can appreciate that, is being able to see the preservation, see the stories. You've got the jerseys next to the bikes. You've got number plates with the bikes, and
a lot of that's from them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, last year, Jeff Cosmala showed up right here.
Okay.
This is the bike right here. Jeff's like, hey, Rob, I want you to show this bike and enjoy it and put this in the trailer and Dennis, with the 78 Pro line and Stewart's, it's awesome. So there's a lot. They help me do what I do also. And a lot, and not just them. There's people all across the world that will see what I'm doing and they'll, hey, Rob, I want you to have this and show it to people.
Love that.
Yeah, that's what's really, really cool. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of similar to what Hall of Fame has done with the museum in some ways, but you're not stationary. You're traveling around, but it's cool to be a part of something and to go, oh, I have a piece in that collection or whatever.
Yeah.
The case is, and it's getting seen by more eyes than just sitting in somebody's garage.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Martin Appareo with this Pro line, he showed up today, and there's a lot of stuff I know about that bike. It's in a book, and it's pretty rare. There's only 4 of them, but to hear him tell me the story on that bike was completely different. And then he's like, hey, I got some stuff also when I got that bike that, we're going to talk about later. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, last year I did an interview at Dirty Fest with John Cruz. And so we were sitting up the hill a little ways. It was on race day, and got to have a conversation with him. And one of the things that I found great that he was laughing about during the interview was that he said he asked Stuart, he said, hey, did you get bikes in a box, or were yours always custom built? And he goes, oh, mine were always custom built. What about you? And John goes, mine were out of boxes. But John and I were talking, and you have John's bike.
It's not actually John's bike.
Okay.
But I have actually. Redline made a Pro line that's called a Team Pro line.
Okay.
And they're very rare. So the first time I obtained one of these Team Pro lines, I thought, I'm going to build John's bike with this. So, and I had help. Actually, almost all of my bikes, Ian Johnson makes the plates.
Really?
So it's not just me. There's other people involved with a lot of this, and Kurt and Kevin, and I have friends that help me bring the visions I have to life. But yeah, John's bike is actually one of my favorites.
Okay.
And that bike has won a lot of shows. There's a lot of love in that bike, and I'm building I have found another one of those Team Pro lines.
Oh.
Yes, and John also raced a pro line that had the first gen graphite Tufts, so I'm building that now. Ian just made the plate for that,
Okay.
and I'm real excited about that one.
Is that the red one that I saw on Facebook?
No, the red one's right behind you.
Okay.
So that's this is Greg Hill's bike when he left Schwinn. This is the 78 micro line that Greg raced, and I've actually been working on this for about 2 years. Just
wow.
Finding parts and this and that and the other, and
okay.
Yeah, Greg saw it today. He was completely stoked, and once again, there's history with that I didn't really know about. Dennis, that pad behind you.
Yeah.
So that pad, that 8X, is in Cook's colors.
Okay.
So Dennis gave Greg that pad when he became number 8X, and so that's why it's got a Cook's Brothers pad on the Redline. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that I learned today, but Ian made the pad and the plate for that too, and yeah, Greg's awesome.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool bike.
And is that a plastic chainring on it?
Yeah, so he had the Attic sprocket. The cranks that are on that, those are first gen 401 no pinch, but the actual cranks that Greg ran were prototype cranks that Redline made, and in the process of the heat treating, the tubing would pop open. So there's only a couple sets of those made.
Whoa.
Greg ran those, and actually Kurt Kasten ran them. And me and Kevin went to Kurt's place. Kurt's in Texas. So we went to Kurt's a couple weeks ago, hung out on a Saturday, and he showed us that prototype crank. So I'm trying to talk him into making that crank for Greg's bike so we can make it just how it was then. But yeah, that's the bike you've been seeing. I haven't shown anybody any pictures of John's new bike. John knows about it, but nobody else yet. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, you and
that's
everybody
cool.
else now. But
well, yeah, now a few other. I mean, we've got millions of views here. So
I hear you.
Okay, so then you also said that you had your son racing.
Yeah.
So for a little bit. So how long did he race for?
He raced for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah. He did good. I wish I could remember the name of that track. It was in the mountains between Corona and the Orange Y, but he crashed real hard at a national there. Okay. And after that crash, we went to one more race. He grabbed brake right out of the gate and pretty much said, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore." So,
So what kinds of things do you see out of the sport of BMX? Because obviously you saw it as valuable enough to introduce your son to it. You see it as valuable enough to do all this and preserve the sport. What do you see that people or kids gain from the sport of BMX?
Well, that's an easy question. So I think one of the number one things you're going to gain is friends for life. So the friendships you're going to get doing BMX are greater than doing baseball or football or soccer or karate or something like that. And I also think it's important to do a sport where you're not on a team, where it's just you against the other 7 people in the gate. And, not to say that there's nothing, I played football, I played baseball, and those things are important too. Doing a team deal is important. But the BMX part of it is, it's different, and it's very lifelong. It's kind of tattooed in your soul once you've done this, and it's going to stay with you.
Yeah,
for your whole life. Yeah, it's different and it's awesome.
Well, I mean, we're sitting in a parking lot. We're looking out at, now what is 100 cars?
Yeah.
What was
2,000.
A couple hundred? Tons of people packed on the hill today. And many of them have been friends for years.
Yeah.
And they may have only raced together 3 times.
Yeah.
I've developed friendships and relationships with people that I've raced with here. This is only the 3rd year.
Yeah.
And you start talking and you build relationships and you build rapport with people, and one of the conversations that I have with people a lot of times is nobody ever says, "Oh, your kid played Little League? My kid played Little League. Oh, do you need a place to crash for the night?" But somebody would do that in BMX.
Oh, absolutely. Back in the day, I mean, during these summer tours and stuff, they'd all be at BR and BA's house, or everybody would be at Toby's house, or everybody would be hanging out at, somebody's house, Jeff Osmus's house in Texas. It'd be packed full of everybody. So, and, the same thing, they went to New Jersey. They'd all be at one guy's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could go to Florida, meet somebody you've never met. I talk to somebody you've never met and start having a conversation.
Instantly have a connection.
And you have a connection through BMX, and they go, well, and you go, man, yeah, I'm trying to figure out a place to stay. And I would be willing to bet that at least 50% of the time people would go, oh, do you want to just crash at my place?
Yeah, probably more than 50%. Probably 9 out of 10.
Yeah. And I mean, it's happened to us at tracks. It's happened to us at different events. Like, oh, do you want a place to stay? And it's a connection unlike any other.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that maybe moto is kind of similar. There are some similarities culture-wise.
With the racing motorcycles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
But anyway, BMX is just unreal.
Off the charts.
In some of those ways.
It's the best.
It's really fun.
And everybody trusts everybody. You don't have to worry about anything. I mean, I've been to all these shows all this time. I've never, ever had anything, and sometimes I'm not with the bikes for hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a rock solid group of people.
It really is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So I was going to ask about the bikes, and if there are any bikes that you have, or a particular bike that took you a really long time to put together, to track down, to get a hold of.
There's one bike that was a complete pain in the rear to do, and that's that yellow MX2.
Okay.
And it's because of my son. So I put this yellow MX2. It was yellow and red. So I put the bike together, and my son came over to go swimming or whatever with my grandson, and he walks in the shop and goes, "Oh, what do you know? You're building Ronald McDonald's bike." And instantly I'm like, "Oh God," because I never even thought of that. So doing this red-yellow combination was a difficult build. I put this bike together multiple ways, multiple rims, multiple tire colors. I mean, seriously, I probably had this thing apart 10 times until I actually went, okay, I can enjoy that. And it's here. That's that yellow one over there. But yeah,
gotcha.
That was the one that was the biggest pain in the rear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were there any pro bikes that were really hard to get a hold of that you wanted, or?
Well, the pro bikes that I have, Dennis's 78 Pro line, that's Dennis's bike. Okay. I show it, and when I'm done showing it, it's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Okay. We're going to be doing Dennis's Cooks Brothers, so I'm going to be building that and showing that also. I've got a real good friendship with Jeff Kosmala, and Jeff's had some cancer issues and stuff, and we've become really good friends. And him giving me the PL24, and then I found out that the original Cos Cruiser that came out of the Hall of Fame was going for sale, and I had to get that bike. And it's it's a mongoose, and it's amazing, and it's historic, but I bought it because of Cos. So I wanted the two to be together. That's why that.
Is that the one that was sitting right here?
Yeah, it's right there. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And that bike is, it's Cos.
Okay.
So, and it's like John's bikes, and it just, every one of them to me, there's a special thing about them in my heart. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that just.
Dee Leon's Cruiser. I talked to Dee, and every one of them, there's something there.
Well, I think that just dives into the depth of connection in the sport as well.
The boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that connection goes much further than the brand loyalty.
Absolutely.
It's into the person. All right. Well, so what are you doing the rest of the year? What do your shows look like?
Well, we go home. We're going to go home. Always after Dirty Fest. It's Dirty Fest, and it's dirty. So I've got all the mats are muddy underneath from sitting overnight.
So this will come out right after Dirty Fest. So
right after Dirty Fest, everything comes out of the trailer.
Okay.
I've got to redo all the bikes. all the mats. We had some damage to one of the easy ups, and one easy up got destroyed, and the other one got some damage. So I've got some things I need to repair and replace.
Okay.
But not really going to any major shows in June, July. There is a show in my hometown that I'm doing.
Okay.
And that's August 9th, Springtown, Texas, ABSA Pro Show. And it's benefiting Parkinson's for John Cruz. And we're having an after party, barbecue, and pool party type thing at the house. And that's going to be a lot of fun.
Right on.
We got special posters and T-shirts and a lot of freebie stuff. When you show up at the party, you'll do a little donation.
Okay.
$1, $20, $1,000, whatever you have, quarter. You know,
Awesome.
as long as it goes to Parkinson's, you're in the door and you're eating and swimming and having a great time. So,
right on.
looking forward to that.
Okay.
Miranda's going to be there. John Cruz should be there.
Okay.
John has some things he's dealing with in July that we hope are going to be wrapped up
Okay.
in time for him to be there. And then Kurt Caston from Redline will be there.
Okay.
That's going to be really cool. Cosmala
Wow.
is trying to come out. His son lives near us, and he's trying to plan things out. So that'll be cool. Hopefully you'll be there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. there are a couple things that are like conflicting, so I'm trying to figure out if I can make it work.
Yeah, and I'm just same here because we're trying to figure out. I have to go to Frogtown to help them with the sound system, the Redline radio thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm flying out or if I'm going to drive and bring the setup. My guess is I'll end up driving out and doing the setup.
Okay.
But there's that. There's the Hall of Fame. Brad show up in Oregon. So there's quite a few things rolling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but they're mostly in the fall,
Okay.
except for August 9th.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. So Springtown and then Frogtown and then Eugene.
Yeah.
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 That's what's on the
Tulsa.
schedule right now.
Tulsa.
Tulsa?
Yeah.
Okay, for the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. We'll
Okay.
never miss that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it look like to get home from Dirty Fest and to clean, redo the bikes?
Oh, you
What
drop
is-
the trailer gate and you go, oh, Lord. It's a
Why do
lot
I
of,
have so many
it's
bikes?
well, 'cause it's already 4 shows in,
Okay.
and there's really no cleaning in between shows. So once we load up for the first show, and we're at the first, they're usually a week or two after, so there's not enough time to do that.
Yeah.
But there is now. So I bring all the bikes out. I have like a climate controlled bike room, my build room, my little BMX room. So they'll all go in there, and I'll put them on the stand one at a time and clean them, touch them up, tighten chains. Believe it or not, just driving with these, things come loose.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's
Okay.
like today I grabbed Byron 77 and the bottom brackets clunk, clunk, clunk. I'm like, what the heck?
Huh.
So things just come loose. So yeah, just go through each one.
So you're doing essentially a tune-up on every single bike.
Every bike will get cleaned up, tuned up, and then
Wow.
cleaning of the stuff, and the trailer
Wow.
gets a pretty good workout with everybody going in and out of there, and
Okay.
the dirt and
Wow.
just the dust and driving, and so
These conversations are fascinating to me because like people that have an RV, they understand, but like nobody really understands what goes into traveling with things and traveling
You
with
do.
things
I know
in
you do.
quantity.
yeah, it's
And so people go, oh, he's got all these bikes. Like, oh, he doesn't ride them. That's fine. Like, there's still a significant amount of work
oh yeah,
that goes in,
Yeah.
and the trailer, like you said, it gets a workout.
oh yeah. The bikes are stacked in there. It's basically a BMX stacker. You've got 2 rows, an upper and a lower level, and
Yeah.
and then traveling with all that memorabilia mounted on the walls and a TV set and all that stuff. It's for it to hang together for this many miles and nothing's even come apart or come off a wall, or there's a lot of thought that has to go into every little thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Even when you get a new component, like some of Dennis's stuff, his Dennis Dane's jersey and his pads. He gave me 2 jerseys to show, and his pads I wanted to put on the bike, but I didn't want to put on the bike because I didn't want to have to clean them in this. I wanted to leave them in original patina. So I ended up framing them and then mounting them. But to do that where they don't move in the picture box and fall off the wall, it takes some time, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
No, there's a lot of art that has gone into what you've done, and I appreciate your setup because it's very intentionally put together,
Yeah.
and I mean, obviously well curated, but also the amount of effort and intentionality that goes into
Yeah.
your setup is incredible.
Love for Redline and the boys.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
I appreciate
had a great
it.
time, Jay.
Yeah, it's fun. And
What did you think of Dirty Fest? This was you've been here
all 3 years.
This is me too.
Yeah.
This was off the charts.
This was, I mean, the number of people here, unreal.
Yeah.
And the number of motos, I think there were 65.
Yeah.
64, 65
They said 63,
motos?
but I guess they ended up splitting the hacks up, so they had to, 65, yeah.
And, I mean, the number of people that have come out and the difficulty of some of the classes has just gotten progressively harder, and it's become really fun. The track is massive.
The track is long and fast and nice.
It is so fast. The push to the top of the hill is unreal. And anyway, it's been so much fun. I love these events just because nobody's out here for points.
Yeah, we're out here for
Doesn't
fun.
matter. Out here for
That's
fun.
right.
And
the BMX brotherhood.
The trophies are cool, but more than that, it's just like the good times, the smiles, the friendships, like you mentioned, and being out here to support the sport and to support your friends and the community is really cool. So
absolutely, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. I look forward to it every year. It's even my wife. She flew out. We drove. The kids and I drove, and then my wife flew out. Amidst being here multiple times, my wife has said, "I'm so happy we're here. I love this." And
she's enjoying it. That's awesome.
She has more fun here than any other event that we go to, and which I think Texas and Stillwater were close seconds. Her and the kids still haven't been to Frogtown just because of when it falls,
right?
In the year, but no, these events are
off the
above
charts.
and beyond.
Yeah,
our favorites.
This is. I knew Dirty Fest would be amazing this year. I didn't think it was going to be this killer. This was amazing, and the bike show.
Yeah,
I think it was like at least 40-50% more bikes this year than last.
I saw all the bikes. I didn't stop to look. It is really tough with the bike show going on and racing going on. I can't split my time.
That's the one thing about showing the bikes that's difficult, because I want to go over and watch the racing, but I got to be here to talk about the bikes and show the bike. Dennis was here today, so I got a little bit of a break.
That's
so
fair.
Dennis loves talking about them all. He can go talk to them, and I can run over there for a minute and watch a race or two.
That's awesome.
We had a great time.
Cool. Well, yeah, thank you again, Rob. I appreciate your
Jay.
time and what you're doing.
I appreciate everything you do.
Oh,
it's rock
thank
solid.
You.
Rock solid stuff.
Well, good talking to you, and
I'm sure we'll do it again.
Yeah, look forward to more conversations.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode. It is because of people like you and our sponsors who make this whole thing possible, because they have a desire to see the sport grow. If you would like to get involved in the mission of BMX Breakthrough, you can start by going to your local track, find a way to volunteer, help out, and serve there. Or you can go to our website, bmxbreakthrough.com, in order to donate, find out about sponsorship, or learn more.